Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Ryan, and if you notice, I changed my t-shirt. I figured I'd just do that because I'm talking about Nintendo's Treehouse performance tonight. And I say performance like they're a band. Nintendo, they're going to be playing greatest hits. No, what I mean is that they had their live stream at the Treehouse displaying The Legend of Zelda, the new game that's coming out. And it looks amazing. But before I dive into that, they did talk and show some gameplay of Pokemon Sun and Moon. Now, personally, I am not the biggest Pokemon fan that I used to be. I stopped around the second generation where you had Pokemon Gold and Silver and then Crystal shortly after, but I even stopped before then. I didn't play Crystal at all. I just played Pokemon Gold and Silver. So I got used to the 251 Pokemon back in the day. Now they're up to Generation 6 or 7, or I don't even friggin' know how many. There's over like 800 of them now. I can't keep track of them. But it does not mean that I don't like Pokemon. I certainly love, obviously, the generations that I know, and all the new ones that I find out about later on. There's not very many things about Pokemon that I can say that are bad, other than, why is there an ice cream Pokemon? Why make a Pokemon that I just want to eat? That's cannibalism. No, I'm sorry. Yeah. No, it's not. It's not cannibalism. I'm not eating a human. I'm eating an ice cream cone. So, what's up with that? But they did show some gameplay, and they talked to two major producers of Pokemon Sun and Moon, one specifically from Game Freak, and they shed some light on it. I actually did not catch all of it because I had other things going on, so I didn't get a chance to see everything, but I got to see the initial gameplay of it. Graphics, they look like 3DS graphics. They don't necessarily push the limit from what I saw, but of course it certainly looks like a good game. I'm definitely not going to say that it doesn't look good. Excuse me. It does look like a good game. And I'm certainly going to give it a try once I get a copy, but it's also just not one of those titles that I'm going to go out day one and spend $30, $40 to pick it up. Eventually I'll get a copy and I'll give it a shot, but until then, I'm willing to be patient. I have a bunch of friends who play Pokemon and that love it to death, and I know they're going to be getting those games day one. I'll certainly get their opinions on it once they get them. And they're also playing in it's like the Alola region. Alola, not Aloha. Alola region, which basically sounds like it's a bunch of trainers from Hawaii. But they did show some things that were different, like the fact that you can actually pick your character. It's not picking boy or girl, and then this is what they look like, and you have to give them a name. They actually have 8 different looks to the trainers. 4 guys, 4 girls. You get to pick the one that you want, and then you get to name it, which is kind of cool. That's a little bit different. It's giving people more of a variety, giving them more of what they want. Especially all those people that are looking towards equality in video games. This is a good start for Pokemon. So, no complaints there. But other than that, there was nothing that was big standout-ish. I mean, the Pokemon I did see in the gameplay, you saw the starters, you saw a couple other new Pokemon, and you saw a couple of the older generations. I remember seeing Caterpie in there. However, the one thing that I noticed was that compared to one of the starter Pokemon, I believe it was, I think his name is Poppet. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but it's the water type Pokemon that's a starter. When they ran into a trainer battle and the other trainer released a Caterpie. Caterpie was like this small on the screen, where the Poppet was like this big. It was like, the size was just ridiculous. I mean, I understand Caterpie's small, he's a caterpillar, but I remember him being at least a little bit bigger than that. It looked like the size of a Tic Tac on the screen. It was crazy. But other than that, I don't really have much else to say about that. So most importantly, the first thing that I noticed was that they showed the opening cinematics that you see when you boot up your Nintendo system, and you start to see some of the cinematics from the game, and then all of a sudden, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. And I was like, freaking finally! It's about time we got a name for this game. It's definitely not my favorite by any means, but it is certainly growing on me the more I say it and the more I look at it. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. It, honestly, after looking at some of the gameplay, I completely get why they're naming it that, and I don't have a problem with it at all. But, I mean, the last game that kind of gave me this kind of vibe with its title was Wind Waker for the GameCube. But, to me, it kind of makes sense, and I honestly don't have any qualms about it. It's not like when Nintendo named their new console the Wii U, and it confused people as to whether or not it was a new console or if it was just an add-on for the Wii. This is clearly not that same case. It's clearly a completely different game. It's not going to be confused with other titles. But when I first heard it, I was excited to finally get a name, and then after I looked at the name, I was skeptical. But then after watching some of the gameplay, I was just like, you know what? It does fit really well. No problems there. I don't know why I really had a problem to begin with. It's Zelda. I'm not saying Zelda can't do anything wrong, but it's also just the title. There's not much wrong you can do with it unless you're Wii and Wii U. I don't know. But then we dive into the gameplay and the graphics and everything else, because they played this game for, I believe, a solid 6 hours at the very least. They played a lot of this game, and there's still more to come. And there's a bunch of footage of everything that they did play so far. It's all over YouTube. You can go ahead and check it out on Nintendo's YouTube page. But this is just my thoughts. And for me, this game looks beautiful. It doesn't look beautiful in the, this looks like I'm Link. Link is a real person type beautiful, but it's basically, it's like an HD upgrade of the cell shaded graphics you could see from Wind Waker. It looks magnificent though. Just everything around it, and it does give you kind of that open world Skyrim-esque vibe when you go to the top of the mountain and you just look around and you're looking at the surrounding environment. It looks absolutely beautiful, just breathtaking. Breath of the Wild. It does get me super excited. If this game does come out on both platforms, which they're saying that it definitely will be coming out on the Wii U and then crossed over into the NX, I will definitely be buying the Wii U version as well. And then once I get an NX, I'll probably buy it again for the NX. So that personally will not be a problem. I would love to play it on both platforms to see what both of them have to offer in this game. I just really hope that they utilize the touchpad a little more with this Zelda game. I don't see why they wouldn't, but I mean, I personally thought they could have found a way to utilize it with Woolly World, Yoshi's Woolly World, and they really didn't at all. But with this, there's many opportunities and things that go beyond the imagination that they can do with the touchpad in using this game. All the gameplay that they showed was very beautiful. It was breathtaking, like I said before, and just some of the things that they were doing they're pretty cool. And when you swap out uniforms and stuff, it does it really well. And it was funny because I know there were a couple women who were playing it for a portion of the time. I know they weren't the ones that started playing that I could recall, but when they got their turn, they were playing for a little while. They took a shirt off of Link, and he was just bare-chested, which was all cool, fine and dandy for the most part. I mean, I obviously don't have a problem with that. Friggin' it's just Link. But there's just so much to this. From you can pick up items off the ground and store them in your inventory, but you can only carry so much because, well, I mean, not everyone can carry everything. Just like in Skyrim, eventually if you carry too much, you can't move very well because you're down weighted. I don't think that's really what they're going to do with this, but they do show that there is some limitations to it, which should be with a game of this magnitude. There should be some limitations on certain things, like the amount of items you can carry. There's usually always a limit in most all games, so I mean, why not? But to keep going on, there was so much that they covered. One of the big things that they kept doing over and over again was that they kept going to the top of the mountains, and they would just span out the view, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. All the views, and you saw the sun rise, you saw the sun set, you saw the mountains in the background, you saw a volcano over there. There was so much to see, and I felt like at points there was such little time. I personally did not get to see all of the gameplay, but I did get to see a lot of it, and it just looked absolutely amazing. I can't wait for this game to come out. There's not much more I can say about this without actually having the game in my hands to play, but I know a couple lucky guys on YouTube who got to go over, and they probably got their chance to play it, so definitely be checking around YouTube and look for videos of people who have actually done the gameplay of it. From what I could tell from the people that were playing it at the conference at the Treehouse, it was rather easy to just pick up and play. They were doing things. They were doing a lot of things. They were doing a little bit of puzzle solving. They were picking up rocks and barrels and throwing them at enemies. They actually showed off some of the slowdown time, like if you were to jump in the air, you were to pull out your bow and arrow. They actually showed a little bit of the slowdown time, which was really, really cool. It reminds me of Max Payne to an extent, and it was great. It was great. I had a lot of fun watching these guys play this game, and when they do this again tomorrow, I will definitely be watching more. And that's all I have for you. I wish I had more, but I'm just really excited. It's also nighttime here, and I'm getting pretty tired. So I'm going to go ahead and end this right now. Seeing that this was really all Nintendo showed that I saw for today, that's pretty much it. But I was not disappointed, and I know that Nintendo they are going to be using their resources for important things. Not that E3 is not important, but they're focusing all their energy into this Legend of Zelda. Then they have Game Freak helping with Pokemon Moon and Pokemon Sun. And then they have a couple other Wii U titles eventually coming out, like the new Paper Mario, I believe it was Color Splash, I believe is the name of it. And then, of course, they're going to be working on the NX, which I would love to have seen something for the NX. But just like I mentioned in my Sony conference about Kojima, Nintendo and Kojima have one thing in common, and that's they know how to not show you too much and get your expectations up high, then all of a sudden it's not what you expect. They are very selective and very, very picky about what they show and when they show it. And I absolutely love that, because then when the final product is released, for the most part, I am never disappointed with anything Nintendo releases. I'm not saying they've never disappointed me, but they certainly have done a good job at disappointing me the least. So, with that in mind, guys, if I were to give the rating for this Treehouse thing, like a letter grade, I would personally give it a B, mainly because there wasn't a lot, but what was there was phenomenal, and it kept me just completely immersed. Which, now that I think about it, giving it a B, I gave Sony a B+. So, Nintendo didn't top Sony. But I'm a Nintendo fanboy. How is that possible? How do you let Sony rank better than Nintendo? It's just my fucking opinion. Deal with it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If this is your first video, I'm happy that you're at least watching my video. I mean, I'm sure I could have suggested 10 or 20 other videos I would have rather you started with, but I don't get to make that choice. But if you like what you see, go ahead, click the subscribe button, and then scroll through all my other videos, whatever you'd like to watch. Not that I'm trying to self-promote, but that's exactly what I'm doing, and I'm rambling because I don't know what else to say. So, with this in mind, until next time, guys, take care. Bye-bye.